The biggest arranged by God author, Chun Daehan copywriting. Zhao Yu has a crush on a little brother for 10 years. She plans to confess to her younger brother when she graduates from high school unexpectedly. When her college entrance examination is over, her little brother will be on fire. The younger brother took advantage of her retreat to learn to sprint for the college entrance examination, and debuted on a beautiful stage solo in half a year. It has been consecrated to the top. With thousands of fans, and a bright star. Zhao Yu, I have a sentence MMP. I don't know when to say it inappropriately. Anxious. Help. How can I fall in love with the top stream? Thank you for the invitation, then let yourself become the top streamer. I wish you success. So Zhao Yu began to struggle towards the top tier road. Then she mixed into the C position of the most popular girl group, mixed into the most popular female idol. It became one of the top 3 in the country, and was as famous as her little brother. Know nothing about Shen Junyi. I heard that someone has a crush on me. There is no disturbance. Zhao Yu, sorry, you heard it too late. Is it when idols are not fragrant? Why fall in love? CP, God arranged. The biggest oracle. CP, stage king Shen Junyi times human fairy. Zhao Yu content tag, sweet Wen Shuangwen. In the entertainment circle search keywords, protagonist, Shen Junyi, Zhao Yu supporting role, entertainment circle others, Chun Daehan. One sentence introduction. Why do you want to fall in love when idols are not fragrant? Purpose, secret love makes me a good person like you. Brief comment on works. Zhao Yu had a secret crush on Shen Junyi for 10 years, and planned to confess it when he graduated from high school. Unexpectedly, after the end of her college entrance examination, Shen Junyi became the hottest male star of the moment. He was the top performer in half a year, with thousands of fans and a brilliant star. In order to make his love become unique again, Zhao Yu began to struggle towards the top stream, and finally became one of the 3 top streamers in China with the same fame as Shen Jun. After learning, Shen Junyi realized Zhao Yu's mind, and the only thing waiting for him was the crematorium chasing his wife. This article is fluent in writing and relaxed in style. Under the sour secret love, the heroine also realizes her dream and value while chasing love. The most wonderful thing about love is to become a better person for the other person. Zai outside the classroom window screamed louder than usual. It seemed to know that this group of students was about to have summer vacation. Before they left, hurry up and tortured their eardrums. Su Jianqian looked at the scores just passed on his report card, and hugged his head in pain. I'm going to die. I don't want to have a good time this summer. I can already see my parents arrange a cram school banquet for me. It's horrible. She wailed for a long time, then turned her head to see that the tablemate who had scored almost the same as herself was looking in the mirror with ecstasy. Su Jianqian was speechless. Are you still in the mood to look in the mirror? If you test this score, are you afraid that your parents will ask you to eat fried pork with bamboo shoots when you go home? Zhao Yu opened his bangs and looked left and right. That Chinese medicine is really useful. My acne is gone. Su Jianqian. After Zhao Yu looked in the mirror, he took out a small comb and combed his bangs, and then stuffed a few horrible papers into his school bag. If nothing had happened, habit is a terrible thing. Su Jianqian, hey! Zhao Yu, when you pass this exam every time from elementary school to high school, your parents will get used to it and make no waves about it. Su Jianqian. Is this the fearlessness of the legendary scumbag? Su Jianqian sighed and packed his school bags. Of course you are good. Your mother is so gentle and your father is so kind. They are not the kind of people who use swords and guns. I'm different. Oh, I really want to change parents with you. I also want to have a mother who teaches ballet and a senior chef dad. QAQ. Zhao Yu picked up her school bag and touched her head kindly. This kind of thing, just think about it. I'm leaving, see you when school starts. Su Jianqian shouted at her back, a summer appointment? You won't be going to your uncle again for the summer vacation, will you? Zhao Yu had already rushed to the door of the classroom and blew a kiss at her. You play by yourself, I'm going to see my little brother. Su Jianqian rolled his eyes and continued to lament his upcoming tragic summer vacation. The girl in the back poked her back with a pen, gossiping, "Who is the little brother?" Zhao Yu said. Su Jianqian is weak. The one she has crushed since elementary school seems to be the neighbor of her uncle's house. Girl in the back row, wow, aren't the boys in our school out of play? Su Jianqian akimbo, these ugly monsters in our school don't count all the time. Can such a fairy like you be something they can think of? Zhang Lei has no class today. When Zhao Yu returned home, she was practicing yoga in the living room. Seeing her daughter running back sweating profusely, she went to the refrigerator to give her the mung bean soup for learning about the summer, and asked, "Where's the report card?" Zhao Yu lay down on the sofa grinningly, "In the bag." Zhang Lei opened his school bag to find the transcript and glanced at it. Although she was not surprised by her daughter's grades, she still reluctantly educate her, "I'm in a freshman year, so why don't you worry about it as before? If you don't work hard now, it will be too late." Zhang Lei is the kind of standard lady, with a good family background, well educated, playing ballet at a young age, very gentle temperament, and gentle in training. Zhao Yu was not afraid of her at all, chuckled twice, and took out his cell phone to call her uncle. Zhao Yu's uncle Zhang Yu is a well-known variety director in the entertainment industry, and he is included in several popular variety show production teams. The Zhang family is based in Hangzhou. Zhang Lei moved to Sichuan after marrying Zhao Yu's father, Zhao Kongning. Zhao Yu grew up in Sichuan and only returned to Hangzhou every summer vacation. In fact, she didn't like to go to Hangzhou before. After all, her friends and classmates are all in Sichuan. There are only a few unfamiliar relatives in Hangzhou, and she can't find anyone to accompany her when she goes out to play. Until the year when she was in elementary school, she met a teenager next door to her uncle's house. Zhao Yu swears that she had never seen such a nice little brother since she was a child. The little brother wore a white shirt, put his hands in his black trouser pockets, and had a lollipop in his mouth. When he walked over the blue stone road, his black hair was blown by the summer wind. The white shirt caged his thin figure, and the sun fell into his beautiful eyes. Zhao Yu also squatted under the tree to dig out the ant nest, watching the little brother getting closer and closer, feeling the sweetness of that lollipop in the wind. The little brother approached, as if he noticed her gaze, he turned his head and looked over. When his eyes met, he smiled at her, with a friendly and refreshing smile, with a breath of summer, and then took out a mint-flavored alpine from his trouser pocket and asked her, "Eat a lollipop." Zhao Yu was captured by a lollipop. Before she knew what love was, the seeds of secret love had already fallen in her heart. Then year after year, the soil broke, sprouted, grew, and finally bloomed flowers full of summer mint fragrance. So going to Hangzhou every summer vacation has become a big expectation in her little life. The younger brother is called Shen Junyi, a neighbor of her uncle's house, and he lives with his grandmother. He is only 3 years older than her, but he is a lot taller than her. He has a playful and optimistic personality. After getting acquainted with her, he often takes her to eat in the streets and alleys. He also secretly helps her with summer homework while his uncle is away. 8-year-old Zhao Yu secretly wrote in his diary, "When I grow up, I want to marry brother Junyi." 8 years later, Zhao Yu, who was in high school, secretly wrote in his diary, "When the college entrance examination is over, I will confess to my brother Junyi." However, during the summer vacation of the first year of high school, Zhao Yu, who ran to Hangzhou before returning to the room to drink a mouthful, knocked on the door next door, and never saw her little brother again. Grandma Shen came to open the door wearing reading glasses, and saw her outside the door, and smiled kindly, "Yu is here." Zhao Yu asked, "Grandma Shen, where is brother Wan Yi?" The grandmother replied, "I was taken to Beijing by his mother." Zhao Yu suddenly felt that the evening sun began to dazzle, and the enthusiastic voice before fainted, "When did you go? Are you coming back?" Grandma shook her head, "After the Chinese New Year, he is leaving. He is registered in Beijing. He is going to take the college entrance examination there. The old man looked proud and said, "The stinky boy did a good job in the exam." One book. Junyi's brother is admitted to college. Zhao Yu's first thought was to be happy for him, and his second thought was to mourn for himself. What does university mean? It means freedom of love. When the little brother went, it was as if Tang Seng had entered the pantsy hole, and there were no more pants left. When Zhao Yu said goodbye to Grandma Shen, the tears were a little bit overwhelming. When he returned to his uncle's house, he lay down in the bedroom and started crying with his head in his arms. "I won't wait for her to graduate from high school. My brother Junyi has children, right?" After crying, she rubbed her tears on the pillow and got up, took out her mobile phone and opened the address book. Looking at the words Brother Wan Yi on the remarks, her nose was sore. After thinking about it for a long time, she typed a line slowly. "I heard Grandma said that you were admitted to college? Congratulations." After sending, there is a long wait. Secret love is always tormenting. Fortunately, the little brother didn't let her wait too long, and the message was returned after 5 minutes. "Thank you/grin, come to Beijing to play in the future." Zhao Yu, okay. Wait for me. I will try my best to get to Beijing. Shen Junyi, come on. I will try my best to get to Beijing. Come to you and wait for me. At this moment, Zhao Yu, the scumbag, had the motivation to learn. It has only been 2 years, and the difference now is for a better reunion in the future. However, Zhao Yu is still careful, and occasionally sends him a message to inquire about whether he has a girlfriend from all angles without a trace. The answer is no. The younger brother said, "Is it that being single is not free? Why do you want to fall in love to restrain yourself?" Although this sentence is weird, but no, I still have a chance. Zhao Yu spent the hard time in high school during this time, and then ushered in the sprint of the last semester before the college entrance examination. During the Chinese New Year, Zhang Lei and Zhao Kongning confiscated her mobile phone and laptop and asked her to concentrate on sprinting for the college entrance examination. After Zhao Yu sent a text message to Shen Junyi, he completely closed himself up, turning a blind eye to things outside the window, and concentrating on only political history. She is actually a person who doesn't like to learn, and she hasn't become a schoolmaster after 2 years of hard work, but she is much better than the horrible grades she had before. Zhang Lei teaches ballet, and Zhao Yu has been fascinated since childhood, and also danced with him. With her current scores, she was actually a little too close to be able to get to Beijing with cultural scores. So after a family discussion, she was asked to apply to the dance academy. After passing the art exam, her cultural class was pretty stable. Finally, in the scorching summer of June, Zhao Yu walked out of the school door refreshedly when the bell for the final subject rang. Goodbye, my high school. Goodbye, my crush career. Starting today, I can chase my little brother in an open manner. Then you can have sweet love soon. Although Zhao Yu knew in his heart, the little brother didn't mean to her. But the great Mr. Liu Sun said, the way people came out. As a schoolgirl from childhood to college, as a person who has been subdued by his own beauty, such a stunning appearance and character coexist in the world. She worked hard and figured out a way to always catch her little brother. Zhao Yu was very happy. After getting in the car with her parents, he turned on the phone that had been turned off for half a year and sent a text message to Shen Junyi, I have finished the exam. Come to Beijing next month, do you want to make a dinner together? She held the phone and her heart was beating, and the corners of her mouth were almost reaching the corners of her ears, but she never received a reply from her little brother. Zhao Yu held his mobile phone and waited until the evening finally received a reply, congratulations. But I'm not free next month, I'm going to have a concert. Zhao Yu? What are you doing? The little girl full of question marks turned over and sat up on the bed, and then received another text message from him, I will invite you to dinner when I have time. Zhao Yu began to doubt life. I read the number and text messages dozens of times over and over. She knows this phone number very well, so she didn't send it to the wrong person. While hesitating, Zhao Yu turned on the computer, took a deep breath and typed in the 3 words Shen Junyi. Numerous news and web pages popped up. Rely on the value of the face to quickly become fans. Shen Jun wanted to call the fans, but in fact, my strength is also very strong. Shen Junyi is an unparalleled debut stage, a natural king. Shen Junyi's celebrity information collection. Shen Junyi's news. Shen Junyi's latest single Sol in Kiwi. He has been in the top rank for half a year since his debut, cannibalized the entire traffic market, and has thousands of teenage fans. What is Shen Junyi's strength in the end? Click to see the latest news. Shen Junyi, a popular idol, is about to sing in his first concert in 6 months of his debut. Tickets are sold out in 48 seconds, setting a new record in the circle. Rational discussion: where did Huachong dug such a treasure as Shen Junyi? The domestic traffic market was occupied by him as soon as it was opened. Is there anything he can do in the future? Zhao Yu felt dizzy, his eyes turned black, and he almost fell over. Her little brother, taking advantage of her 6 months of retreat to learn to sprint for the college entrance examination, from an unknown and beautiful boy to a star with thousands of fans? With trembling fingers, she searched his Weibo, his Taiba, his Beta Bake, and his videos. It's him. It really is him. With a cheerful smile, beautiful eyes, and familiar tone, it is her little brother. Not a dream. Zhao Yu collapsed. The author has something to say. The cuties meet again. I have a manuscript this time. Hold your chest proudly. I hope this story can bring you happiness and warmth. Key demoning: 1. This article is a derivative of a wife fan. Both the male and female protagonists have already set it up. There is no prototype. It is forbidden to substitute. Don't mention real stars in the comment area. It will affect the reading experience of other readers. 2. The male protagonist Shen Junyi has a good impression of other girls in the early stage, so don't look at Ji Dang. Don't watch if you can't accept this setting. Don't look, don't look, don't look. 3. The secret love story, slightly bitter in the early stage, sweet in the later stage, can be regarded as half a crematorium chasing wives, but not torturing. The sand sculpture wind will run through the whole text. Zhao Yu felt that he had ushered in the darkest moment in his 18 years of life. What the are you talking about in a fart love? Is she going to grab people from tens of millions of fans? Is she going to compare her beauty to countless beautiful ladies in the entertainment industry? Even the secret crush no longer belongs to her alone. In this world, I don't know how many girls are in love with her little brother like her now. Her secret love doesn't seem precious at all. It's so broken. How could there be such a breakdown? Isn't he a computer science department? Why did you become a star? Zhao Yu cried loudly while holding his computer to search for news about Shen Junyi. After studying for a whole night, it turned out that Shen Junyi signed a contract with the old brokerage company Huachang Entertainment in the circle as early as a year and a half ago. He was discovered by Huachang scouts while accompanying his classmates to interview advertising models. I don't know how the scouts convinced this young and cheerful boy. Anyway, it turned out that Shen Junyi signed with Huachang, trained for a year in singing and dancing, and then gathered thousands of resources to make his solo debut. His appearance is really excellent. When the Korean wave swept the world and the domestic traffic market just opened up, he turned out to be a dazzling star. Maybe he was born to eat this bowl of rice. In 1 year, he grew from a young boy to a perfect idol who mastered the stage with ease. Even if he is good at singing and dancing, Zhao Yu saw a lot of scolding remarks when he looked through the information, but this did not prevent him from becoming the most popular traffic at the moment. After all, such a face value can be met but not sought. The character is fun, the soul is interesting, and he is sincere to people. It's good everywhere, why would anyone not like OO? As Zhao Yu cried, he thought fiercely, go and assassinate his classmate tonight. This summer vacation after the college entrance examination was supposed to be the easiest and happiest summer vacation in a person's life, but it became Zhao Yu's most uncomfortable and heart-wrenching period. The originally planned travel plan was cancelled. I told my uncle that I would go to his new variety show class to find a star and ask for an autograph. Zhao Yu even pushed her out even when a friend asked her to go shopping and sing K. She shut herself in the room, holding the computer to make up for all the shows and videos of Shen Junyi since his debut for half a year. He seems to be a born star, the brightest one wherever he stands. Zhao Yu, who has never chased stars, self-confided on Taiba's Weibo Super Talk. She registered a trumpet and followed everything about Shen Junyi. When I clicked on Super Talk, I just saw the video of yesterday's pickup. She hasn't seen her little brother for more than 2 years. He looks more and more beautiful, his smile is confident and flying, even if the airport is crowded, he struggles through the crowded crowd, and does not cover his face with a relaxed smile. In the video, a girl shouted, "Brother, see you at the concert." He looked in the direction of the camera and raised his eyebrows, "Okay, see or leave." There was a sudden scream around. "Brother!" Obviously only belongs to her title. Zhao Yu clutched his heart, feeling that he was about to suffocate. She covered her head with a quilt and beat the bed and cursed, "Shen Jun wants you to be a fairy." After cursing, she cried again, picked up the computer again, and continued to watch the videos that made her feel heart-stricken and heartache. In the evening, Su Jianqian at the same table knocked on her door with 2 cups of ice milk tea. As soon as he entered the bedroom and saw Zhao Yu's unkempt and haggard face, Su Jianqian was shocked, "What's wrong with you? Are you out of love?" Zhao Yu fell on the bed weakly and said, "Forget it." Su Jianqian knew that she had a crush on a little brother since she was a child, and heard her say that her little brother had gone to college in Beijing. At this moment, she thought it was her little brother who had made a girlfriend, and comforted, "It's only in love, not marriage. No college or university love. Good results, usually break up after graduation, you still have a chance." Zhao Yu wanted to cry again, covering his head with the quilt, and suffocating a few words, "You don't understand." Su Jianqian drank milk tea and chewed pearls, and then said for a long time, "Then you can ask on Zhihu, I don't understand, all the big guys on Zhihu must understand." Zhao Yu doesn't go online very much, what is it? Su Jianqian said deeply, "Zhihu, a gathering place for big bosses with a monthly average of 10,000. From the origin of national events and the universe, to the disputes between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, giving birth to children and confinement, there is endless knowledge and everything." Zhao Yu. Su Jianqian ate dinner with her before leaving. As soon as she left, Zhao Yu quickly lay in bed with the computer in his arms, secretly opened Zhihu, and couldn't wait to ask the big guys for help after walking around, anxious. "Help! How can I fall in love with the top stream?" After posting the post, she went to take a shower, and when she came back, there were hundreds of replies, "If I knew, would it be your turn? Keep away, let me wake up this sister with urine. Shen Junyi's fans are crazy again? You have no chance, sister, brother Wan Yi is already in my arms." The top stream of the main question, the following is automatically substituted into SJY, the face is a bit too big. Shen Junyi, the entertainment industry is top-notch, no one in the circle can play at the moment, is there any problem? Don't be anonymous, there is a kind of match with Ben Barley. Zhao Yu. Going down, the floor will be crooked, and the rice ring tearing mode will be turned on. Zhao Yu turned around for a long time, his fingers were slipping and painful, and finally found a comment that answered the question seriously, "Thanks for the invitation, then let yourself become the top performer, come on, I wish you success." Zhao Yu. She looked at this reply for a full half an hour. Finally came to a conclusion, it seems not impossible. Her little brother, standing in such a high and luminous place, she must look up now when he is close. Every day, there are so many girls shouting at him that I like you. He has long been numb, right? If I stand in front of him now and say, I like you, would he also consider himself one of them? Then smiled and answered, I know, I like you too. Probably, only when he stands at the same height, stands at the same place, and can look directly into his eyes, will her love become unique again. Zhao Yu had insomnia. She turned off the computer, got into the bed, her eyes widened, looked at the ceiling in the darkness, and began to think about the possibility of this matter. After thinking about it, I feel that Shen Junyi is fine, why can't she do it? I have been dancing ballet since I was young, and now I am admitted to the dance academy. What about him? He is just a computer learner. And there are still people in her circle. Uncle is a well-known variety director. With so many connections in the circle, just give her a hand, it won't be popular. The more Zhao Yu thought about it, the more he felt possible, the more he thought about it, the more energetic he got up and called his uncle. Zhang Yu, who received a call from his niece at 3 in the morning. Zhao Yu, uncle. I want to be a star. Zhang Yu, you are a hammer, don't you give Louds a sleep. Zhao Yu, QAQ. After hanging up the phone, Zhao Yu logged in Zhiyu again and replied to the comment that was answered seriously, thank you. I will work hard. Zhao Yu, who logged out of the account and uninstalled Zhiyu, did not know that the other party replied to her the next day, fuck sister, I'm joking, are you serious? Come back, hello. A star is not something you can be casually, sister, don't change your life trajectory casually because of a word of mine, my god. After getting up for breakfast the next day, Zhao Yu solemnly told his parents at the table, I want to be a star. Zhang Lei, well, take another Xiaolong Bao. Do you want soy milk? Zhao Kongning, I will be on vacation this afternoon and will cook Italian turkey legs clay pot rice for your wife in the evening. Zhao Yu. She has been very hot-tempered since she was a child, and she only has 3 minutes of heat for everything. Her parents have long been used to it, and she doesn't care. Zhao Yu took a bite of the steamed dumplings and vowed silently in his heart, this time, I must show it to you. But before becoming a star, the most urgent thing is to watch the first concert of Junyi's brother. Shen Junyi's concert tickets had been robbed long ago. Zhao Yu fumbled for a ticket in Kaihua, and was cheated by 1,000 yuan. Finally, he called Zhang Yu angrily, Uncle. I want a ticket to Shen Junyi's concert. Zhang Yu can still do this. Tickets will be mailed home soon. It just so happened that Zhao Yu was going to Beijing to go to university. He packed his bags and, accompanied by Zhang Lei, embarked on the plane to Beijing. Zhang Yu always ran to both sides of Beijing and Hangzhou, and rented a house here. Zhao Yu lived here with Zhang Lei before school started. She has grown up so much that she hasn't seen a concert yet. She didn't know what it meant to be 8 or what the surroundings were. On the day of the concert, she checked the route, carried a small bag, packed the tickets and went out. She was late, and it was almost dark when she arrived at the venue. The concert started at 7:30 in the evening, and the fans had already entered the venue. Only a few scattered crowds and ticket scalpers were still waiting outside waiting for tickets. Zhao Yu saw that they were all holding red light sticks in their hands and wearing hairpins with Shen Junyi's name on their heads. Then he looked at his empty hands, thought for a while, and ran to the small vendor who set up the stall. Bought a red glowing cat ear. Although she knew her little brother was very popular, Zhao Yu was still a little shocked when he walked in and saw the crowded stadium, the dazzling Red Sea, and the constant shouts. She found her place with the ticket. When I sat down, the girls around me were all chattering excitedly, saying everything she didn't understand. Seeing her sitting on the seat somewhat restrainedly, the girl next to her patted her on the shoulder and asked enthusiastically, Hello, is it Barley? Zhao Yu walked around for a while, and he knew that Shen Junyi's fan was called Barley. She actually didn't know if she was or not, but looking at the girl's passionate smile, she nodded with a smile. The girl said, "Ah! So excited! This is my brother's first song, we are so happy." Zhao Yun echoed. The girl looked at her empty hands and asked curiously, "Did you not bring a support stick?" Zhao Yu felt empty, going out in a hurry, "I forgot." With an expression of understanding, the girl took out a light stick from her backpack and handed it to her, "Here you are. I will give my brother the best support in a while." Zhao Yu asked, "What about you?" The girl took out a light stick from behind her again, "I brought two. I was going to wave it crosswise, it's more imposing." Zhao Yu. "Do you play drums?" The girl rubbed her hands in excitement, "Ah! My brother will be out in 10 minutes. What? Zhao Yu, hey!" The girl actually knew as soon as she saw her that she was a new fan with little experience, and it was normal if she couldn't understand the terminology of the rice circle. She changed her question, "How long have you liked him?" Zhao Yu looked at the brilliantly lit stage. There was no one there, and the staff were debugging the equipment, preparing to welcome the king who belonged to this stage. The girl proudly said, "I like him for 8 months, and I am an old fan. I was in the pit right after he debuted. I have such a good vision, hee." Zhao Yu lowered his eyes. 10 years. She said silently in her heart. "I have liked him for 10 years. The author has something to say." Everyone ignores the timeline. When looking at parallel time and space, everything is subject to this article in order to compare with my wife's fan. My round timeline is so round that my head is bald. Zhang Yu was really taken aback for a while. "According to you, I have to thank you for our entertainment industry." Way strange. Zhao Yu waved his hand embarrassedly, "That's not necessary, hee." Zhang Yu. Zhang Yu has been busy with the variety show he loves all these years and has never been married. After the birth of his sister's child, he regarded Zhao Yu as his daughter. Zhao Yu has been good-looking since she was a child. Although she is not a rich family, she grew up with a lot of love and love. The family has always been responsive to her. Seeing his uncle cast an inexhaustible look at him, Zhao Yu tugged at his trouser legs and acted like a baby. "Uncle, look at me like this. I can't do anything, I can't do anything well. After I graduated from this dance major, I might find a job." "Less than." Zhang Yu interrupted her, "You can't do anything, you can't do anything well, then how can you be a star?" Zhao Yu is confident, "I look good. I can rely on my looks." Zhang Yu was amused by his naive niece, "It's not just a good-looking star. An actor must have acting skills, a singer must have the ability to sing, and even participate in variety shows. You, there are good-looking people in this world. Many, not everyone can be a star." Zhao Yu bit his lower lip and looked at his uncle. After holding back for a long time, his eyes were red, and finally he said, "I don't care. I just want to be a star. If I don't know, I will learn. I just want to be." Her voice was a little louder. Zhang Lei walked out of the kitchen and reprimanded her, "Why did you talk to uncle? Zhang Yu, leave her alone, she will be hot for 3 minutes, and she will forget it in a few days." Zhao Yu was aggrieved and angry, "I am not a 3-minute heat. I am serious this time. Zhang Lei, you said the same before you learned fencing last year." Zhao Yu. "Zhang Lei, that's what you promised to me and your dad when you clamored to learn Guhan in your first year of high school. In the end, did you learn it for 2 months?" Zhao Yu. "Zhang Lei, since childhood, have you persisted for more than half a year?" Zhao Yu, stop talking. Zhang Lei shook her head amusedly, "Don't bother your uncle, let him take a rest." Zhao Yu nodded boredly, and finally did not speak any more. Zhang Yu glanced at the dejected niece, rubbed her head with a smile, waited until Zhang Lei entered the kitchen to suppress her voice and asked, "Do you really want to be a star?" Zhao Yu nodded, raised the back of his hand and rubbed his eyes. Wang said in a voice, "Uncle, leave it alone, I will figure it out by myself." Zhang Yu was amused, "What can you do?" Zhao Yu raised his head and looked at him, and said seriously, "Uncle, don't you say that celebrities can't just look good? I will learn first. I want to be a singing and dancing singer, and I will learn it. Wait until I learn. I will come to you again." Zhang Yu saw such a firm light in the eyes of his niece for the first time. He watched her grow up, and even spoiled Zhao Yu even more than Zhang Lei and Zhao Kongning. Seeing her grievances and aggrieved eyes were red but still clenching her teeth, it was so funny and distressed, she glanced at the kitchen and asked, "Then how do you plan to study and where do you go?" Zhao Yu said depressed, "Just leave it alone, anyway, I will figure it out by myself." Zhang Yu smiled and patted her on the head without saying anything. After dinner, Zhao Yu went back to the bedroom to play on the computer. In the afternoon, Zhang Yu walked over with a teacup and took a look, and saw that she was searching for a trainee entertainment company in the search engine, and she took a notebook and took notes seriously. Zhang Yu took a sip of tea. "This company doesn't need to be considered, it's a leather bag company." Zhao Yu found out that his uncle was peeking at the screen behind him, covering the computer screen with shame and embarrassment. "No." Zhang Yu smiled and walked out. In the evening, Zhang Yu waited for Zhang Lei to finish yoga and called her to the balcony. "Sister, I think Yu is serious this time." Zhang Lei said, "Which time did she not be serious? It's just that the time for seriousness is too short. You don't know that she is halfway through her temperament." Zhang Yu smiled and shook his head, and told her his thoughts. Zhang Lei looked back and sighed, "Don't get used to her." Zhang Yu said, "It's better than her own mess. Let her try. I really think it's better to be a trainee. It's more tiring than being a star. I'll show you an account. At most 2 months, she will cry. I can't stand it anymore." The two chatted for a few words, and Zhang Lei was helplessly persuaded by Zhang Yu at last. "Forget it, let her die, it's okay, I'm just worried about causing you trouble." Zhang Yu smiled and said, "A few words, it's not troublesome. That's okay, I'll take her there tomorrow." The next day, Zhang Lei went out early in the morning to meet her friends in Beijing. It was almost noon when Zhao Yu got up. Zhang Yu ordered a takeaway and sat in the restaurant and called her, "Wash up and eat, and we will go out when we are done." Zhao Yu was helpless, "I don't want to go out, it's too hot outside." Zhang Yu didn't say anything else, "Eat first." After eating, he urged her to change her clothes again. Zhao Yu reluctantly changed her clothes and was dragged out by his uncle. Until the car gradually entered the bustling city, Zhao Yu asked, "Uncle, where are we going?" Zhang Yu smiled mysteriously, "You will know when you go." The car finally stopped in front of a building, and Zhao Yu was a little confused when he saw the words "Mui Entertainment" on it. Mui Entertainment is a veteran artist company in the circle. Although it is not as good as the big companies such as Huacheng, Zhongxia, and Xinjiao, it is still small and powerful. Especially this year they launched a girl group, which was triggered when they debuted. After the craze, it is considered to be a relatively good company in the domestic entertainment industry for the trainees. Because the founder's surname is Yang, it is called Mui. When Zhao Yu checked the information yesterday, he also wrote Mui Entertainment in his notebook, and he also drew a 5-point star key mark on the back. What did uncle bring her here? Zhao Yu's heart was beating, and he heard his uncle making a call, "Lao Yang, I'm here, are you in the company? Come on, I'll come up right now." After hanging up the phone, Zhang Yu stretched out his hand and snapped his fingers in front of the fascinated niece, "Go." Zhao Yu guessed something, his eyes became bright, and he followed Zhang Yu into the elevator, holding his breath. The current owner of Mui Entertainment, Yang Ji, is Zhang Yu's college classmate. The two have a good relationship. The variety shows produced by Zhang Yu also collaborate with Mui's artists. As soon as Zhao Yu followed Zhang Yu into the office, the man on the opposite side smiled and said, "This is the niece you were talking about? It's a shame not to debut on this condition." Zhao Yu was a little nervous, said hello politely, and followed Zhang Yu. The two old classmates talked for a while, and finally talked about her. Zhang Yu smiled and said, "She started ballet in elementary school and was admitted to folk dance again this year. She has a good foundation." Zhao Yu was exaggerated by his uncle. "She has been playing fish for 3 days since she was a child, and her ballet dance is not half as good as Zhang Lei's. Whether she can be admitted to the folk dance or the pre-exam assault effect, she can only use a little basic skill." Yang Ji nodded happily, "Of course, you can see from this figure, Puzhou. Lao Zhang, don't worry, your niece is my niece, let me go, it's proper." He took out a document from the drawer, "The contract is ready, look at it." Zhao Yu suddenly became a little nervous, and pulled Zhang Yu's clothes corner, "Uncle, what contract? Am I going to make my debut now?" Zhang Yu and Yang Ji both laughed. He took the contract and looked through it and explained to Zhao Yu as he watched it. Mu Yi's current trainee model is very mature. Both the dance teacher and the vocal teacher are very professional. There are dozens of trainees under the contract. However, the current trainee contracts in China are at least 5 years. Zhao Yu wants to learn, of course, it is better to follow this systematic training model. Given the relationship between Zhang Yu and Yang Ji, her contract is a special case, only 1 year. It is equivalent to a named trainee of Mui Entertainment, who is not restricted by the company's training system, and is relatively free in terms of time. After all, she still has to attend classes. Of course, this contract is not only because the two have a good relationship. Zhang Yu promised that Yang Ji's lower variety show will use a newcomer under his banner as a permanent residence, which is also a deal. His niece has been reckless since she was a child, and she left her to think of a way, maybe she could find out what trouble. The entertainment industry was so messy, how could Zhang Yu rest assured? It's better to follow her wishes and pave the way for her. As for how long she can walk, it's her own business. Zhao Yu didn't expect that his uncle would solve his worries in one night, and his face flushed with excitement while holding the contract. Before signing, Zhang Yu warned her, "I'm optimistic, the signing is for 1 year, 1 day less will not work. Don't do my previous tricks, practice for 2 or 3 months and then stop practicing." Zhao Yu categorically promised, "No. I will study hard." After signing the pen, Zhao Yu looked up at his dog-like name at the end of the file and asked nervously, "Am I going to start signing signatures?" Makes both of them amused. So before officially becoming a college student, Zhao Yu first became a trainee. Zhao Yu felt dizzy when he returned home with the triplicate contract. She tossed over the contract, her heart beating so fast. She seemed to be a step closer to him. If the road close to him takes 10,000 steps, she has finally taken the first step now. The remaining 9,999 steps are very long, very far, and difficult, but as long as he is at the end of the road, she will definitely walk towards him firmly. On the way home, Zhang Yu told her a lot of the rules in the circle, what can be done and what cannot be done, even though it is only a trainee, what should be followed is still to be followed. While listening, Zhao Yu nodded, and couldn't help taking out his mobile phone and opening the SMS box. The last communication with Shen Junyi was on the day the college entrance examination ended. She looked at the few lines of chat records that had broken her at the beginning, pricked her finger for a long time and typed out a few words, but while hesitating, she deleted them one by one, repeated several times, and finally did not post anything. Forget it, wait until she succeeds before reappearing in front of him with a brand new image. What a neighbor's little sister, she is not a little sister. After Zhang Lei came back from the party in the evening, Zhao Yu excitedly showed her the contract. Seeing her daughter so happy, Zhang Lei just smiled and touched her head, warmly exhorting, "Uncle is helping you so much because of your relationship, so you can't behave like before, you know." Zhao Yu firmly made a fist, "Just wait and see. The author has something to say." 2 months later, Yu gave up being a trainee because of too much training. The full text is over popular science, tighten up is Sichuan dialect, not a typo. The trainee training mode of MUI entertainment is divided into 3 levels: elementary class, intermediate class, and advanced class. An internal assessment will be conducted every 3 months. Beginners will be promoted to intermediate, and intermediate will be promoted to senior. The number of debuts is naturally selected from the advanced class. Although Zhao Yu has dancing skills, she has to carry out systematic singing and dancing training. As a newcomer, she is more suitable for elementary classes. The company has never seen such a special case like her before, and Mr. Yang personally explained it. The department in charge of trainees knows that a trainee with a background has arrived. Zhao Yu arrived in the training building on time at 8 o'clock in the morning. Zhang Lei and Zhang Yu sent her to the door, and after a few more instructions, they watched her jump in and jump in. Zhao Yu sent a WeChat message to the person in charge who added yesterday, "Sister Han, I'm here." Han Chuang is the general person in charge of this batch of trainees. She is responsible for supervising everything from training effectiveness to clothing, food, housing and transportation. 2 days ago, I learned that the company had hired a newcomer with a background. I thought it was a high-level daughter who came to experience life. He was very polite to Zhao Yu. This kind of eldest daughter just came to play with her dream of becoming a star. She didn't know how much she had paid behind her glamorous star, and she would no longer practice after a few days. She sees many such things. Han Chuang made a smile and replied, "Okay, come to the office to find me first." After a while, someone knocked on the door outside. Han Chuang looked up and said, "Go in." The door was pushed open, and a girl with a high ponytail and a short skirt in a white t-shirt came in. With just one glance, Han Chuang's eyes brightened. She has been in a line for too long. She used to be an artist, and now she is a trainee. She has seen countless potential newcomers. With her sense of smell and vision, it is easy to tell whether a person has the potential for fire. The young girl in front of her had a very good appearance. According to the data, she is only 18 years old this year, and her beautiful facial features have not yet lost her youthful and childishness, but it is this childishness that makes her bright and eye-catching beauty much more heart-pounding simplicity, temperament between girls and women, plastic too strong. Han Chuang was still secretly marveling. She had already walked over. In her clear eyes, there was the tension of the little girl entering the society as well as the shining expectation, "Hello Sister Han, this is Zhao Yu, I will report today." It's not at all like the spoiled daughter she imagined, real and cute. Han Chuang was about the same age as Zhang Lei, and had a gentle temperament. Zhao Yu chatted with her for a while, and the initial restraint disappeared. Han Chuang briefed her about the company and took her to the training room. There are already more than a dozen girls in the practice room of the elementary class, standing in several rows and learning to dance with the teacher in front. Han Chuang waited for them to finish this part before taking Zhao Yu in, clapping his hands and introducing, "Here is a new member, and I will train with everyone in the future. Come on, Xiao Yu, say hello to everyone. This is the first time Sister Han has brought a trainee here." The sweaty girls all looked curiously at the beautiful and seductive girl at the door. Zhao Yu went to change training uniforms after introducing herself. When they came back, everyone was resting between classes. When they saw her back, they greeted her enthusiastically. At this stage, everyone is still Xiaomen Xin, without much thought. Zhao Yu looks good and has a carefree personality, and he gets along with his new friends in the morning. In the elementary class, there are newcomers just like her, just a few days after becoming a trainee, and there are also poor students who have been training for a period of time but cannot be promoted with a poor foundation. Zhao Yu has a solid foundation in dancing, and there is no problem in following their progress. After a class, the teacher realized that she was good at it, and asked with a smile, "How many years have you learned to dance?" Zhao Yu replied boldly, 10, more than 10 years. She didn't lie either, she really started to press her legs when she was 3 years old. There was a wow sound all around. Only the teacher saw how hydrated she was in the past 10 years, and smiled and said, "That's better." Zhao Yu made a red face. However, after answering this question, she suddenly became a school bully in the eyes of her companions. The girl standing next to her said enviously, "You are so good, maybe next month's internal assessment will be able to be promoted to the intermediate class." Internal assessments are conducted every 3 months, and the last assessment was 2 months ago. The other side excitedly said, "Yes. Break Feng Yu's record for the fastest promotion in the first 2 months. Let her scream again in the future." Zhao Yu suddenly felt that he shouldn't be bragging just now. The girl who was pressing her legs behind her smiled and said, "Okay, don't put pressure on Xiao Yu, she's only here for the first day." Everyone laughed and changed the subject. The girl who presses the leg is called Lin Hainan, who is the same trainee as Feng Yu, who is rumored to be extremely talented, but Feng Yu is now preparing to advance to the advanced class, and she is still staying in the junior class. When I went to dinner at noon, Lin Hainan was still training in the classroom, only calling his companion to help her bring a bun back. Zhao Yu secretly sighed, she works so hard. Another girl said, "Sisters Hainan is the hardest one of us. She comes to train at 6 o'clock every morning, and she will practice until the early hours of the morning." Zhao Yu was speechless. After lunch, it's another round of training. Zhao Yu's stamina is not good, and he feels that he has been emptied all day. There is still a month to go to school. This month, she will live in the dormitory for trainees and focus on training. The time set by the company is 8 or 6 in the morning, but generally everyone will automatically practice until 8 or 9 in the evening before returning. Only a small number of people practice until 11 or 12 o'clock, and even those who practice until 1 or 2 in the morning like Lin Hainan are even rarer. Zhao Yu insisted until 9 o'clock, almost unable to raise his hands, returned to the dormitory and only took a shower, and fell asleep as soon as his head hit the pillow. In the middle of the night, I heard the sound of shallow water coming from the toilet. She picked up the phone and looked at the time, 2 o'clock in the morning. When Lin Hainan slept in her lower bunk and walked over lightly in the dark, Zhao Yu stretched out his mobile phone to light her up. She was a little embarrassed, "Did I wake you up?" Zhao Yu whispered in a voice tone, "No, my whole body hurts and I sleep unsteadily." "Why are you coming back now?" Lin Hainan smiled, "I haven't watched the time when I practice, so go to sleep." Zhao Yu went to sleep again, but the alarm clock at 7 o'clock in the morning failed to wake her up as a pig. The girl who was on the bed climbed up and shook her up, "Xiao, it's time to get up." Half dreaming and half awake Zhao Yu, "It's over. I seem to be paralyzed." "Roommate." "Zhao Yu, my limbs hurt so much that I can't move." The roommate couldn't laugh or cry, "The paralysis is unconscious. You still know it hurts. That means it's okay. Get up soon." Zhao Yu cried and got up from the bed, "I haven't been so tired in my 3rd year of high school." When she came to the training room with her sore body, Lin Hainan had been practicing alone for 2 hours, and Zhao Yu was impressed with admiration. At noon, she brought Lin Hainan back with buns. There was only Lin Hainan in the empty classroom. He was still practicing the actions taught by the teacher in the morning. Zhao Yu sat on the floor and was drinking milk tea. He had to remind, "Nanan, the buns are cold." She just walked over and picked up the steamed bun, took 2 bites, poured 2 more mineral waters, and then went back to practice again. Zhao Yu hurriedly held her, "You can rest. Jumping right after eating will cause stomach ptosis." Lin's Hainan glanced at her, smiled, and finally sat down. Zhao Yu took out a bag of nuts from her pocket again, and the two ate them separately. She looked at the clothes that Lin's Hainan had never done before and said with emotion, "You are too hard, won't you be tired?" Lin's Hainan sighed and said, "Diligence can make up for one's weakness." She was too late to learn to dance, and her body and ligaments were already in shape. The basic dance skills are the basics, but they are actually the most difficult. Zhao Yu is really envious of this kind of dance practice. It's only a month since the assessment. This is the third time she has participated in the assessment. If she fails again, she might become a joke after working so hard. Zhao Yu's cell phone rang on the floor, and Lin's Hainan took it and handed it to her. After she finished replying, she smiled and said, "Do you like Shen Junyi?" Zhao Yu almost jumped up in shock. "What?" Lin's Hainan pointed to the screensaver of her mobile phone, which was lit up, and it was a picture of Shen Junyi. That was a photo of the concert not long ago. He was wearing a white shirt, holding a bottle of water in his hand and tilting his head to the audience with a smile, a strand of black hair in the corner of his eye, brighter than the stars of Xiayat. It was like the young man who broke into her life with the hot summer wind when she first met him. During the whole concert, Zhao Yu liked this group of pictures the most, and he secretly saved a lot of them when he visited Kaihua. When the secret was revealed, she suddenly became uncomfortable, and immediately denied it with a guilty conscience. "I don't like it." Lin's Hainan was amused by her. "If you don't like it, use his photo as a screensaver?" "Oh, it's okay, it's not shameful to be a fan. Although he is average, he is really handsome. It is natural to like handsome guys." Zhao Yu blushed, and it took a long time before the mosquito hummed out a sentence, he is quite strong." Lin's Hainan was taken aback, laughed, and apologized as he laughed, "I'm sorry, I'm a powerful controller, if I don't pay attention. I shouldn't say you love beans in front of you, I actually like him, I'm sorry Aziao." Zhao Yuguai shook his head embarrassedly, and did not deny that he was not actually his idol. Like him, since he became a star, he was destined to become her unspeakable secret. Lin's Hainan patted her on the shoulder, "Come on, when you make your debut, you can find him up close and ask for an autographed photo. Maybe you still have a chance to cooperate." Zhao Yu put the phone back and stood up vigorously, "Practice." Lin's Hainan, "Hey! Zhao Yu, you have to work harder. Stand on the highest stage and stand beside him. You have to work harder." At the end of the evening training, everyone was surprised to find that Zhao Yu showed no sign of leaving. The roommate in the same dormitory was shocked. "Xiao, are you infected by Sisters Hainan?" Zhao Yu was too tired to speak, so he waved his hand and told them to leave as soon as possible. She has a good foundation, but her physical strength is really not good. Lin's Hainan focuses on dancing, and she focuses on physical strength and cardiopulmonary training. In fact, she is more tired than Lin's Hainan. At 12 o'clock in the morning, Lin's Hainan took the initiative to stop and call her, "Xiao, it's almost done, let's go back." Zhao Yu gasped in the classroom. It takes 10 minutes from the company to the dormitory. The moonlight on summer nights is particularly bright, and there is a smell of barbecue in the wind. Zhao Yu sniffed twice and said happily, "Let's finish tomorrow night half an hour earlier, let's have supper." Lin's Hainan gave her a surprised look, "You will practice with me tomorrow night?" Zhao Yu sighed and said, "Diligence can make up for one's weakness." Lin's Hainan couldn't laugh or cry, "Where are you clumsy?" Zhao Yu, "Hey, don't you know how clumsy I am?" At first everyone thought that Zhao Yu was on a whim. After all, with her conditions, there was really no need to force herself like this. But day after day, apart from shouting tired, she never slackened once. Every time when she was lying on the hard floor panting and not wanting to get up, there would always be a picture of him standing on the stage that was brighter than the sun on the night of the concert. From small to large, she always gave up halfway. From small to large, the only thing she persisted in was to like him. This time, she can't give up. Once she gave up, the secret love that accompanied her entire girlhood would really come to an end. It took Zhao Yu a while to adapt to this rhythm, and he started to get used to every day except eating and sleeping, answering mother's phone calls, and spending the rest of his time training. Sometimes she thinks, is her little brother trained like this? What supported him to persevere? Ah, what an unpredictable man! The roommate asked what she had asked Lin's Hainan, Yu, don't you feel tired? Zhao Yu, already tired as a dog who doesn't even want to take a bath, slumped on the bed, I'm not tired. I feel like I have energy to spend. I can practice for another 500 years. Lin's Hainan. The roommate facing the bed raised her hands and feet and gave her a thumbs up, what a role model of my generation. Can you interview our Yu? What gives you such a big motivation? Zhao Yu lay on the soft quilt, as if he had fallen asleep. She said quietly in her dream, it's love. No teacher dislikes hard-working students. When Han Shuang asked about the trainees, Zhao Yu was praised. The teacher said, with talent and willingness to work hard, she has made remarkable progress. This time she can take part in the assessment. In the history of the company, there are few people who participate in the assessment after 1 month of training. Soon everyone knew that there was a good-looking and powerful trainee in the elementary class, ready to challenge Feng Yu's fastest promotion record. In addition to training, everyone usually trains, and mobile phones can only be played within the specified time. Chuan gossip is the only entertainment product. Zhao Yu didn't even know who Feng Yu was, so he became her opponent somehow. When I met in the cafeteria, I was reminded by Lin's Hainan that the girl who rolled her eyes on the other side was Feng Yu. What should you do when someone rolls his eyes at you? Zhao Yu, turn it back. Then Zhao Yu rolled his eyes back. Not only that, it wasn't enough for her to flip one, and a group of people watched her standing there and kept rolling their eyes. Lin's Hainan was a little anxious and pulled her sleeves, it's almost done, Feng Yu and the others are here. Zhao Yu was also anxious, no. I turned up invisibly. Can't turn down. Lin's Hainan. Feng Yu has already walked over, and under Zhao Yu's non-stop white eyes, he said with a strange yin and yang air, blowing so hard, don't let people disappointed in this assessment. Zhao Yu was still flipping the contact lenses, his eyes were very arrogant, do you like me if you care about me so much? Feng Yu. Lin's Hainan almost laughed to death by the side. She signed the contract with Feng Yu in the same batch. In the past, Feng Yuming was often stigmatized by Feng Yuming during training. Now that she looks slumped, let's not mention that it's so cool. When she left, she said to Zhao Yu with some worry, this time the assessment will be come on, if you fail, you will be laughed at by her. Zhao Yu didn't take it seriously, I didn't work hard for her. What does my success or failure have to do with her? Lin's Hainan feels that he loves to death. The assessment time was set at the beginning of September, which happened to be the few days when she started school. After signing up for the assessment, Han Shuang staggered her assessment time with the start time and arranged it on the last day. The month of her training camp was similar to the retreat for the college entrance examination. Su Jianqian called her several times but no one answered him. She found a cloudy day and went directly to the training building. Su Jianqian also passed the test in Beijing. This summer, he traveled around the world. He only came back a few days ago and just learned that Zhao Yu had gone to work as a trainee. After being shocked, I felt that this was something that Zhao Yu could do. It won't last long anyway. Until Zhao Yu came downstairs to pick her up, Su Jianqian was stunned, why have you lost so much? Zhao Yu excitedly grabbed her hand and pressed it on his stomach, you touch my waistcoat line. Su Jianqian fumbled and felt envious, I want to be a trainee too. I want a vest line too. Zhao Yu, where do you touch your hand? Su Jianqian took it back happily. It is rare for Zhao Yu to take a long time off, to accompany Su Jianqian to stroll around, and to eat hot pot with the students in the junior class in the afternoon. Hearing that Lin's Hainan and the others said that Zhao Yu, who had gone out early and went back to train hard, Su Jianqian began to wonder if this was really his lazy and useless desk mate who abolished beauty. When it was dark, Zhao Yu sent Su Jianqian to take a bus. The two sat at the bus stop, waiting for the bus while chatting about the start of school. Zhao Yu and Yu Guang saw that Su Qianqian's mobile wallpaper was a boy he didn't know. The heart of gossip suddenly burned. Are you in love? Su Jianqian gave a dazed ah, and saw her gaze on the phone wallpaper and realized what she realized, and shouted at her incredulously, You say him? Me? Am I worthy? What look? This is my idol. He doesn't even know. Zhao Yu took the phone and looked at it twice. She was very handsome, but she looked a little bit colder. She didn't like this. I don't know, who? Su Jianqian quickly opened the web page to search and showed her, Horch. He has a great singing and dancing shortly after his debut. This is his debut stage. Look, he is super handsome, and he dances much better than the one called Shen Junyi. Zhao Yu almost died of anger. Don't look. Take it. The car is coming, goodbye. Su Jianqian didn't know that he had offended the table mate. After being driven into the bus, he yelled at Zhao Yu through the window, On National Day, you accompany me to the music park to watch Horch's performance. I have all the tickets. Zhao Yu rolled her eyes very spiritually at her. On the way back to the dormitory, she thought of Su Qianqian's words, took out her phone and clicked on Weibo that she hadn't read for almost a month. Horch is a newcomer signed by Hua Chang's old rival company, Xinjiao Entertainment. The trainees dug back abroad are not inferior in appearance or strength. They were all on the path of singing and dancing idols, making it clear that Xin Yao launched a fight with Shen Jun. Shen Junyi almost cannibalized the entire domestic traffic market in the past 6 months, and Hua Chang's stock has grown a lot because of this. It is of course impossible for Starlight Entertainment to sit idly by. Zhao Yu checked the star data list following the method Lin Yi had taught her before, and found that Horch's data after his debut was not much better than that of Shen Junyi. Shortly after his debut, Weibo has already had millions of fans, and the major power lists are also on the list. In addition to Horch, all major entertainment companies have launched singing and dancing idols this summer. Xinjiao has not only signed Horch, and even Shen Junyi's company, Hua Chang, has launched several new idols. Obviously, the situation that Shen Jun intends to dominate the traffic market is about to be broken. She saw several media and marketing accounts comparing Horch and Shen Junyi together. Everyone agreed that Horch, who had several years of experience as a trainee, was stronger than Shen Junyi, who was a half-time renunciation. The two fans in the comments have already torn apart, but Horch's popularity is still not as good as Shen Junyi's, and almost all of them have been suppressed. Zhao Yu looked at the indifferent teenager in the hot search video, and was very unconvinced. What, so cold? I don't even smile, I really don't know what I like. Oh, my brother must be very sad, right? Zhao Yu clicked on Shen Junyi's Weibo and was already thinking about what encouragement and support comments should be left until she saw Shen Junyi's recent Weibo update, at Little Goldfish's funeral, rest in peace. Zhao Yu? The few goldfish raised by Shen Junyi finally failed to feed, so he arranged a funeral for the goldfish. At the end of the video, a well-knotted hand was sprinkling rose petals on the mound. Zhao Yu? Brother Junyi is good, so optimistic. As expected of him. I didn't care, and Zhao Yu's dissatisfaction suddenly disappeared. Okay. To learn the open-minded nature of brother. After the 1-month training is over, Zhao Yu can no longer live in the dormitory for trainees after school starts. The school and the company must coordinate their time. On the day of moving out of the dormitory, all the roommates took leave of absence and came back to send her off. Lin's Hainan confessed worriedly, I will be assessed in 2 days. Don't forget to practice when you go back. Zhao Yu akimbo, who said that I shouldn't put so much pressure on me. Lin's Hainan smiled with a guilty conscience. However, Zhao Yu is still very loyal. During this time, she also heard how Feng Yu used to mock Lin's Hainan before, and promised in her heart that she would help her good friend to give her a sigh of relief, and take the assessment and slap Feng Yu in the face. Zhang Lei drove to pick her up, and when she saw her daughter, she felt distressed. Why are you so thin? Zhao Yu was excited. It's not thin. It's because the body fat has decreased. Mom, look at the line of my arm and the line of my waist, isn't it super cool? Zhang Lei couldn't laugh or cry. Of course she knows how tired it is to practice dance. It has been a month since her daughter is not tired, she seems to be more excited than before, which is really confusing. But it's too early to draw conclusions, let's look at it again. Zhang Lei said as he drove, by the way, your cousin and cousin Ying Ying are here, we will go out for dinner in a moment. Zhao Yu's face, who was still enthusiastically sharing daily practice with his mother, suddenly collapsed. What are they doing here? Zhang Lei heard the disgust in her tone and glanced at her helplessly. Ying Ying is about to start school too, your cousin sent her over, knowing that we are also here, so she shouted for a meal. Zhao Yu is strangely unhappy. I want to compare me with my cousin again, anyway, I can't compare to her anywhere, I won't go. Zhang Lei smiled and stretched out her hand to touch her head, and said softly, who said that? My youngest child is the best, there is no need to compare with others. The cousin just talks a little bit, she said you just listen. Let's talk about it. Now, my mother will go back when you start school. Uncle is busy with work, and I can rest assured that Ying Ying is with my mother. Zhu Ying Ying is the most promising child of Zhao Yu's generation. She was the first in grade from childhood to most of her age. She studied well and was polite. She was admitted to a key university in the first 2 years. She is a typical child from another family. Full of praise. Compared with her, Zhao Yu is nothing but good-looking, and the two are not much different in age, and they have always been the subject of comparison between the relatives of the Zhang family. Zhao Yu was still unconvinced when he was a child, and worked hard for a semester to try to compare with his cousin, but finally gave up because his final exam scores dropped by too anger. At the beginning, Su Jianqian comforted her like this, God must have added all your learning talents to your appearance when God created humans. Zhao Yu sadly accepted this setting. After returning home to put their luggage, the two diverted to the designated restaurant. In the past, cousin and Zhu Yingying were already there. Although Zhao Yu was not happy in his heart, he still greeted them politely. When my cousin saw her, she said, oh, I haven't seen Xiaohu for a long time, and she's become beautiful again. After a pause, she said, it's like our Yingying, who knows how to read and study all day long, and she doesn't know how to dress up myself. Zhao Yu. Zhu Yingying is gentle, and smiles whenever she meets everyone. Zhao Yu actually has no objection to this cousin. She even thinks that her cousin has been compared with each other, and she should be under a lot of pressure. After chatting for a while, when I learned that Zhao Yu is now a trainee, my cousin's voice suddenly increased by an octave. What is that improper thing? I have never heard of it. Ouch, Lili, it's not me. You guys are too used to Xiaoyu. Everything she wants depends on her temperament. How can you get this going on like this? She took a sip of her drink, glanced at Zhao Yu, who was immersed in the food, and said, if you want me to say, I should put my mind on the right path. Just like us, Yingying, we are now preparing for civil service exams and will graduate later. It's the preparation, how stable. What kind of dance major Xiaohu took the exam? I think it's not good when I heard it, and it's hard to find a job in the future. There are also trainees who are unreliable and unreliable. Zhao Yu was a little angry, and unconvincedly defended, not everyone can be a trainee. Training is much harder than studying. The cousin glanced at her in surprise and sneered, "Then you can't study, how can you train?" Zhao Yu. Oh shit! Annoyed. Zhang Lei put a piece of her favorite pastry for her daughter and interrupted her cousin, "The child is still young, so it would be nice to try more. Everyone should have multiple choices in life. Sister, do dishes suit your taste?" The topic was then revealed. When she went to the bathroom on the way, Zhu Yingying apologized to Zhao Yu with an apologetic look, "Xiaoyu, my mother just talks, don't take it to your heart." Facing the gentle cousin, Zhao Yu nodded no matter how angry. After dinner, my cousin also suggested to have afternoon tea. Zhao Yu secretly talked about Zhang Lei's clothes. Zhang Lei knew it, but smiled and refused. You will start school the day after tomorrow. There is still a lot of information to prepare. We will meet again when we are free." The cousin looked regretful, and did not forget to tell Zhang Lei before leaving, "I think Xiaohu's trainee is really unreliable. How easy is it to be a celebrity? Can she be a persistent temper? With that time, why don't we have more exams, like our Ying, we have all 3 exams now." Zhang Lei smiled and agreed. After leaving the restaurant, Zhao Yu said angrily as soon as he got in the car, "Is her hobby in her life to demean me for pleasure?" Zhang Lei calmed down a few words, then smiled and said, "I don't want to be underestimated by her, so I can prove it to her this time." Zhao Yu akimbo, "Why should I prove it to her?" "To prove it is to prove it to you and Dad." Zhang Lei couldn't help but laugh, "Well, then I will wait with your dad." 2 days later, major colleges and universities began to sign up for new students. Zhao Yu also came to the folk dance accompanied by Zhang Lei and began to enter the journal. Zhang Lei graduated from folk dance in the past, and now she returns to her alma mater. Some of her former teachers are still there, and they have all been promoted. After completing the registration process, Zhang Lei took Zhao Yu to visit the previous teacher. Zhang Lei was also a man of the school back then, and the teachers and students have also been in contact over the years. Seeing her returning to her alma mater with her daughter, the teachers were full of emotion. Zhao Yu will go to Muay for training next, and he needs to coordinate with the school's courses. With Zhang Lei, these processes are easy. Zhang Lei left after finishing moving in the freshman dormitory. The daughter has grown up and is a college student. She has to fight for the next road. Parents cannot be with their children for life, but when she looks back when she gets tired and hurts, she will find that they are always there. In addition to her, Zhao Yu's dormitory has 3 girls. There are many beautiful women in the dance profession, and they are very eye-catching in terms of body and appearance. Zhao Yu was the last to go to the dormitory because of the course coordination process. When I entered, the 3 girls were voting for flowers. As soon as Zhao Yu opened the door, before he had time to say hello, the girl in a floral skirt pointed at her and said, "I vote for her." Another eyeball fell on Zhao Yu, "Ah! Is this waste real? I vote for her too." Another, "Okay, I surrender." Zhao Yu. Then she somehow became Shihua. The roommates have very good personalities. Zhao Yu feels that his luck is really good, and the people he has met since childhood are very good. Knowing that she is already a trainee of Muay Entertainment, her roommates said that she was not surprised by her appearance, and hoped that she could say it early, and then help them chase stars. Zhao Yu secretly poked and asked expectantly, "Who do you like?" The 3 roommates said in unison, "Horch." The 3 of them looked at each other and laughed. Zhao Yu. Happiness is all yours. The author has something to say, Yu, help, I am surrounded by my opponent QAQ. After the school starts, there is military training. Before that, Zhao Yu will participate in the company's promotion assessment this time. The assessment lasted 3 days, and Zhao Yu was arranged in the afternoon of the last day. The students in the elementary class have all finished the exam, but the result has not yet come out. Lin's Hainan looked nervous when he came downstairs to pick her up. Zhao Yu comforted her, Didn't you say that you played well? This time it must be fine. Lin's Hainan sighed and asked her again, how are you preparing? Zhao Yu gave her an okay gesture. Because he has always been the teacher's praise object, as soon as Zhao Yu entered, the examiners couldn't help straightening their bodies, showing some expectation. Zhao Yu was not nervous at first, and being stared at this way, he couldn't help but feel a little nervous, comforting himself in his heart. Could this compare to an art exam? Not afraid. Hold on. The assessment is divided into two parts, one is basic skills and the other is singing and dancing performances. Zhao Yu quickly passed the basic skills assessment, and when she waited for the singing and dancing assessment, she took a deep breath and nodded to the sound engineer for a long time. When the music sounded, the examiner below raised his eyebrows, and one of them tilted his head to communicate, "This is Shen Junyi's song, right?" "Yes, Sobasi, this song is very difficult, she would choose this one, she seems to be very sure of her own strength." Sobasi is a single released by Shen Junyi in the first half of the year. It is still at the top of the music chart. It is not easy to dance or vocal. The dance part is very masculine, and it is not suitable for girls to dance. Zhao Yu practiced for a long time. During the period, the teacher suggested to her to change the song. It is still too hard to dance this song with her current strength. But this is the song that Shen Junyi won the best single this year. She wanted to use his award-winning song to accompany her upwards. Every movement, every dance step, she has practiced to the point where she has become a muscular memory. She made a few adaptations, but still retained the essence of the song. When the male power is displayed by the female, it becomes more sexy. When the music stopped, Zhao Yu finally dared to gasp. The examiner whispered a few words and raised his head to comment, "The breath is still unstable, and the vocal needs to be strengthened." Zhao Yu suddenly held his breath. Then the examiner smiled and said, "But you can jump off this song completely without a single mistake, you are already great." Zhao Yu just breathed a long sigh of relief, and asked expectantly, "Did I pass?" The examiner was amused by her childishness, "You will know tomorrow." When I went out, several students in the elementary class were waiting outside, and they surrounded her when she came out. "How is it? There is no mistake, right?" Zhao Yu grieved, "The chorus part is a bit floating, and the breath is not steady." Everyone comforted, and sighed, "You shouldn't choose Shen Junyi's song, it's too difficult." But his song is indeed very expressive and can catch the eye, it depends on how the examiner judges it. Several people were walking and talking, and there was a sneer next to them. Some people want to fly as soon as they learn to walk, and they dare to jump in Sobasi. Zhao Yu glanced at Feng Yu, and was about to speak. Lin's Hainan helped her be surprised first. "What? You can dance Shen Junyi's dance? You and Shen Jun intend to buy the exclusive rights." Only then did Zhao Yu know that Feng Yu had also selected Shen Junyi's song. The girl next to her whispered, "She is too domineering, and she can't let others choose his songs just because she likes Shen Junyi." "Zhao Yu?" she asked. "What?" The girl pouted her lips, "She is a fan of Shen Junyi." "Zhao Yu?" She glanced at Feng Yu with ineffable words. Suddenly, she doesn't seem to be that annoying anymore. The friends around me are all Horch fans, but the opposing camp is Barley. This world is too magical. After the assessment is over, Zhao Yu will return to school to prepare for the next half-month military training. Lin's Hainan promised to send a message to her as soon as the assessment result comes out tomorrow. It was already dark when he arrived at the dormitory. Zhao Yu bought a supper and went back. As soon as he went in, he saw 3 roommates screaming and watching Horch's video together, and he didn't want to give them supper. He declined the invitation of his roommates to watch the video together, and Zhao Yu was sitting on the bed wearing headphones and secretly reading about Shen Junyi's information. Lin Yi sent her a WeChat, "Yu, brother will have an endorsement store event next Friday, do you want to go together? No need to grab tickets." Let's go ahead. Zhao Yu made a crying expression. I will be in military training next week. Lin Yi said, oh, yes, I almost forgot that you are a freshman, ha ha ha, come on, remember to put on more sunscreen, I will take a live video for you. The two chatted for a few words. Zhao Yu glanced at the roommate who was screaming and couldn't help asking Lin Yi, Yi, is Horch hot recently? I think his data list is about to catch up with us. Lin Yi second came back with 3 exclamation marks, and then said, he is a virtual fire. We both disdain to put him in our eyes. You, remember, the most important thing in chasing stars is to focus on yourself. Star Chasers IO by Zhao Yu, okay. I remember. Early the next morning, military training officially began. You can't bring your mobile phone during training. Zhao Yu was a little bit distracted all morning, and only rushed back to the dormitory to see the assessment results sent by Lin's Hainan when he had lunch at noon. There are already several messages in WeChat, Lin's Hainan, we all passed the assessment. Lin's Hainan, Feng Yuzhong has never been promoted. We are in the same class with her now. For a while, I don't know whether to be happy or upset. Lin's Hainan, you broke her 2-month record. Everyone is talking about you now. Feng Yu's face is so stinky, it's a pity you can't see it, ha 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 ha. Lin's Hainan, well, they are all fans of Shen Junyi, so the difference is so big. Zhao Yu's nerves that had been tense all morning finally relaxed, and happily returned her emoticon. Lin's Hainan seconds back, Yu is the best. Zhao Yu, Nan is also great. Come on training, wait for me to come back. Lin's Hainan, don't slack off in school. The training intensity of the intermediate class is even greater. I'm afraid you won't be able to keep up when you come back. Zhao Yu, do you think military training is easy? The intensity of military training is not low. These freshmen are undergoing devilish torture every day, so Zhao Yuquan should be training for physical fitness. In addition to the previous month's training camp, she was actually quite easy to deal with. Because she has practiced ballet and she has a good body shape, the instructor looked at it, oh, this girl is standing in a really standard military posture. Take her out as a pace setter. Boys look at her, and girls look at her, so Zhao Yu, who has just been promoted from Shihua to class flower, won the title of school flower. The roommate excitedly hugged her and shook her wildly, school flower. School flower. Yu Niubi. Zhao Yu appeared to be very calm, stop Liao through normal operations, calm down. Roommate, how do you feel that Yu seems a bit narcissistic? Another roommate, be confident and remove the seemingly. She is very narcissistic. Zhao Yu, how can I? Roommate, narcissism does not know how to stop Liao. Zhao Yu. Am I really narcissistic? She was a little unconvinced. At the end of the day's military training, I went to take a bath. Looking at himself in the mirror, Zhao Yu touched his collarbone, and then touched the vest line, and finally commented pertinently, I am in good shape. Half a month of military training passed by in a flash. Although Zhao Yu was tanned with sunscreen, it didn't affect her appearance. On the contrary, her temperament was even cooler because of her skin tone. After finishing the military training and returning to normal classes, Zhao Yu ran away from both sides of the company school. Fortunately, she had already coordinated with the school when the school started, and neither was delayed, but she would be more tired than others. The school curriculum also has dance training, and Zhao Yu feels that the water he has spent more than 10 years practicing dance is now making up. The laziness I stole when I was young is the sweat QAQ I shed now. Lin's Hainan made a call when he was having English class in the classroom. Zhao Yu glanced at the stern English teacher on the podium and pinched the phone. Unexpectedly, when she hung up, she called again. Zhao Yu sneaked under the desk, covered her mouth and said with a voice, "What are you doing?" "I'm in class." The voice was so sharp that it changed its tone. "You come back to the company. Shen Junyi is here." Zhao Yu. The stern voice of the English teacher came from the podium. What are the students below? You can go out if you don't want to attend class. Zhao Yu. Her English is already bad, and the final exam is probably a bit hanging. If the class points are deducted, this subject is probably going to be suspended. I gritted my teeth and hung up Lin's Hainan's phone, and then furtively returned a message to go back. I'll be back after class. Lin's Hainan, the daylily will be cold when you finish class. He came over to see a choreographer, and he was going to leave after the chat. Feng Yu went to ask for an autographed photo. You are going to miss your idol. Zhao Yu panicked a group. You help me hold him. Lin's Hainan? Who do you think I am? Can I hold Shen Junyi and I am still here? Zhao Yu never returned news from her. Lin's Hainan looked at the crowd outside the office and couldn't help stomping his feet. After more than an hour, the door of the office opened from inside, and Shen Junyi walked out while smiling and chatting with the choreographer. This was the first time Lin's Hainan saw a real person, and was caught off guard by the beauty crit, and when he reacted, Shen Junyi was already walking into the elevator. Even if you can't see a real person, you have to see what the video looks like. Lin's Hainan quickly took out his mobile phone to take a video, but the assistant who was following Shen Junyi found out and immediately said, "No pictures allowed." Lin's Hainan shook his hand and put down the phone awkwardly. Shen Junyi, who was chatting with the choreographer teacher, looked up and smiled kindly at Shang Lin's Hainan's embarrassed expression. Would you like to take a photo? Lin's Hainan swallowed, walked slowly over, and plucked up the courage to say, I don't want a photo, can I want an autograph? Shen Jun smiled and nodded, okay. Lin's Hainan was a little embarrassed that he was so approachable. After taking the autograph, Shen Junyi waved to her before entering the elevator. Lin's Hainan looked at the notes flying on the paper, and then at the smiling teenager inside, and thought to himself, no wonder Yu likes him. Although I didn't see the real person, I could get the autograph, so Yu should be happy too. Lin's Hainan put his signature back in his pocket and was about to leave. The elevator door next to him opened with a ding, and Zhao Yu rushed out of it sweating profusely. When she saw her, she immediately asked, where are the people? Lin's Hainan pointed to the elevator next to him and stomped his feet, just got in. Hurry up. Let's take the stairs. We can catch up. The first floor is the lobby, and the second floor is a circular staircase corridor. When I reached the second floor, I could just see Shen Junyi and his group walking towards the revolving glass door. Lin's Hainan dragged her down anxiously, and Zhao Yu suddenly grabbed her. Lin's Hainan turned around and saw her panting, but staring at the revolving door, and whispered, don't go, just check it out here. Lin's Hainan is more anxious than she, I want to take a picture together. Zhao Yu shook his head, no more, just take a look. Lin's Hainan hates iron for not making steel, why are you so persuaded? Zhao Yu looked at the back of him away, and it took him a long time to speak slowly, not yet. The author has something to say, we are going to return as a queen. It wasn't until Shen Junyi and his party completely disappeared at the door that Zhao Yu retracted his eyes and sighed sadly, let's go back. Lin's Hainan stared at her with hatred of iron and steel for a long time, then took out his signature and handed it over, take it. Zhao Yu saw the handsome signature on it and was silent for a while. She is familiar with his handwriting, after all, he wrote her previous summer vacation life. This signature should have been designed by someone, but his habits are still revealed between the strokes. Zhao Yu said sadly, no more, you can keep it. Lin's Hainan. She looked at her inconceivably for a while, are you a fake fan? Zhao Yu. Lin's Hainan glanced at the autograph and stuffed it back into his pocket, I keep it as long as I keep it. I think Shen Junyi is pretty good now. She held her heart in her hands, so handsome, in good shape. I really want to touch it. His ABS. Zhao Yu, return the signature to me. Lin's Hainan made a face at her and ran away smilingly. When I returned to the training room, everyone was still talking about Shen Junyi's arrival. Even if he wasn't a fan, they were all impressed by his looks and figure. With such a good personality, many girls are clamoring to turn fans. Because Feng Yu got the autograph for the group photo, the smile on his face never disappeared, and he was in a good mood to give his companions who were not familiar with Shen Junyi's work and daily life. Of course the scandal is fake. He often shares those goldfish with his fans, and each fish has a name. But in the end he didn't feed it. He gave the goldfish a funeral last month. His personality is actually stupid. When he first debuted, didn't he participate in a variety show, and then 2 female guests tied him up and made a lot of announcements? Generally, the company issued a statement to refute the rumors, but the interview was conducted. When the reporter asked about this incident, he directly said it was false, because no one is worthy of him at the moment, ha 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 ha. Because this incident has been scolded for a long time, it is really distressing and funny. He is really working hard. Compared with the current stage, he has made great progress when he just debuted. At that time, fans said when they picked up the plane, "You have to train hard, don't you know, you can't be looked down upon by others." He said, no more, don't rush, I'm working hard. It's so cute. When every star girl talks about her idol, her eyes are shining. As Feng Yu was talking, he suddenly found that his number 1 competitor, Zhao Yu, didn't know when he was approaching, and he listened very seriously. She glanced at her, "What are you doing?" "Zhao Yu, I just listened to it." Since Lin's Hainan found the mobile phone wallpaper last time, Zhao Yu has changed the photo. No one except Lin's Hainan knows that she also likes Shen Junyi. Feng Yu snorted, but didn't drive her away, and continued to Amway idol. Zhao Yu has never contacted Shen Junyi since he was in high school. The little brother she remembered was always a refreshing boy full of summer flavor on the day of first meeting. The short summer vacation time each year is all she gets along with him. When in front of her, he has always been the friendly and warm brother next door. But now listening to the boy in Feng Yu's mouth, I realized that I didn't know him. She is only familiar with one of him, because she is the little sister of the neighbor's house, so he always looks like that in front of her. The more you listen and the more you understand, the farther you will find yourself away from him. At the end of hearing, Zhao Yu got up in silence and went to practice. Let's train. Come to him as soon as possible to get acquainted with all aspects of him. After being promoted to the intermediate class, the training intensity is even greater, and both dance and vocal training are also more difficult. Day after day, boring and exhausted, as if there is no end. Zhang Lei and Zhang Yu's expected halfway abandonment has not yet arrived. Although Zhao Yu was tired every day, as long as anyone said forget it, don't practice, she immediately jumped up like chicken blood. Sometimes Zhang Yu and Yang Ji met in the workplace. When asked about the training of his niece, Yang Ji was full of praise. Zhang Yu even wondered if his niece was dropped during the practice. The weather in Beijing changed from hot to cold, and after the winter, heavy snow fell. There is very little snow in Sichuan, even if it is only a thin layer. Zhao Yu was very excited to see the city covered by the vast snow. After the school's winter vacation, she moved back to the trainee dormitory for intensive training. Last month the company conducted another internal assessment, but this time Zhao Yu and Lin's Hainan did not participate. They know their strengths and there is no need to test them. Feng Yu also didn't participate. The first kill was a bit big for her. Now she is not 100% sure, because of her strong character, she will not be embarrassed anymore. As the Chinese New Year was approaching, the company also gave the trainees a small holiday for a week. Zhang Yu finished filming early this year, and finally didn't have to work during the Chinese New Year. He has not been with everyone for several years. After discussing with Zhang Lei, he decided to go to Hangzhou for the New Year together this year. Zhang Lei and Zhao Kongning passed a few days in advance. Zhao Yu set out from Beijing, but was the last one to return home. She has not been to Hangzhou for several years, and Hangzhou without Shen Jun's intention is no longer attractive to her. The development is changing with each passing day, and even the streets have been widened a lot. It was noon on New Year's Eve when Zhao Yu walked in from the alley with a suitcase. The courtyard door not far from the door opened from the inside. Grandma Shen, who hadn't seen her for many years, walked out holding a stove and looked up to see her. It took a while to recognize him. Is it Xiaoyu? Xiaoyu is here. Zhao Yu was still playing on his cell phone, listening to the voice and looking up. When he saw the old grandma standing at the door, she was startled, and then quickly walked over. Grandma Shen, it's me. Why are you so thin? Okay. The old man shook her hand and said cheerfully, okay, okay, I haven't seen you for many years, I've grown up as a big girl. A babysitter and medical nurse walked over behind him to support the old man. Grandma, the car is coming soon, let's go. Grandma Shen nodded, and said to Zhao Yu, Xiao Yu, you can come and play when Grandma comes back this afternoon. Zhao Yu nodded with a smile, and then asked the doctor, is Grandma okay? The doctor said, it's okay, just go to the hospital for a routine checkup. The old man was a few laps thinner than she remembered. Zhao Yu watched them go away, waited home to put away their luggage, and asked Zhang Yu about Grandma Shen. But Zhang Yu spent very little time at home. He asked 3 questions. In the end, when relatives and friends who lived nearby came to visit, Zhao Yu found out that Grandma Shen was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago. Once the elderly are infected with cancer, they are basically terminally ill. Fortunately, Grandma Shen hasn't reached the late stage and has been undergoing treatment after the operation. There has been no sign of recurrence in the past 2 years. The adults sighed with melon seeds and sighed, Grandma Shen has a good life and has a good grandson. If it weren't for her grandson to become a celebrity and make money, where would the hundreds of thousands of treatment fees come from? Shen Junyi's father died in an accident many years ago. He was brought up by his grandmother. Zhao Yu was a little sad while sitting on a small bench and peeling oranges. She calculated the time silently. The year that Grandma Shen fell ill seemed to be the year that Shen Junyi signed with Hua Chong. She has never understood why he suddenly ran to be a star. Is it because of Grandma's illness? At that time, he was also a sophomore student, and his graduation was a long way off. After his father passed away, his mother remarried, heard that she had formed a new family, and gave birth to another child. Grandma's only reliance is him. How can we make up the hundreds of thousands or even millions of treatment fees? At that time, he must be very anxious. The adults who were chatting suddenly called her, Yu, what's the matter with you? Why are the eyes red? Zhao Yu raised his head, holding the orange tightly in his hand, and stammered, orange juice splashed into his eyes. The adults smiled and handed her the drawn paper. In the afternoon, when Grandma Shen returned home after her checkup, Zhao Yu listened to the movement and ran to knock on the door. The doctor opened the door and saw her, smiled and said, Grandma is thinking about you righteously. This yard located in the alley still looks like it used to be, but the furniture inside has been refurbished, and convenient facilities have been made specifically for the elderly to travel, and the living is very comfortable. A babysitter was hired at home, and there were 2 carers. Because of the Chinese New Year, there are grills on the windows, and red lanterns hung under the eaves, making them very happy. Grandma Shen was very happy to see her. Zhao Yu spoke with the old man for a while, and then hesitated to ask, Grandma, won't Brother Junyi come back during the Chinese New Year? Grandma Shen said cheerfully, those who are coming back are coming back. He is going to the Spring Festival Gala tonight, and he will be back in 2 days. Speaking of grandson, the old man's cloudy eyes are full of pride. Zhao Yu is actually not very good at chatting with his elders, and listens in silence most of the time. Listening to Grandma Shen talking about how excellent his grandson is, saying that his father was an actor in the art troupe, and his biggest wish is to be on the Spring Festival Gala stage. Now, the father's wish is finally realized by the son. Grandma Shen acted like a bragging child, and asked the nurse to turn on the TV and tune into the channel with Shen Jun's program. Xiaoyu, have you watched our Jun Jun program? This kid is on the mirror, just like his dad. His dad likes it. Performing on the stage, you see, we are singing and dancing, just like his dad back then. In fact, the elderly can hardly see the TV screen clearly anymore, squinting their eyes and talking, they are more of distant thinking. Zhao Yu felt sad for some reason. This is Shen Junyi's first Spring Festival Gala since his debut. Zhao Yu remembered one of his interview shows he had seen before. The host asked him what his greatest wish was, and he smiled and said that he wanted to go to the Spring Festival Gala. At that time, this stock was also on a hot search, and the onlookers laughed and said that they had never seen such a real idol. Even fans thought he was just playing tricks. Actually, I really want to go to the Spring Festival Gala. Want Grandma to see him. Want to realize the dream that Dad didn't realize at the beginning. Adults were chatting and playing mahjong at night, only Zhao Yu was sitting in front of the TV with a small bench, counting the numbers on the program list, and waiting for Shen Junyi to appear. He appeared with several seniors in the circle, performing a singing program. There are not many close-up shots given to him. Zhao Yu used his mobile phone to snap a picture of the TV screen several times, but it was blurred, and finally he deleted it silently. After the performance, another station broadcasted an interview in the backstage. Zhao Yu changed channels to watch the interview. When the transfer was over, the screen was interviewing the senior performing on the same stage. Standing next to him, Shen Junyi was smiling and saying something to the staff behind him, with eyebrows flying. After a while, it was his turn. The host said, "Wow, a new year," to the audience in front of the TV. The teenager wore a red suit, handsome, well-dressed and well-dressed. Unlike the usual activity videos, he smiled and waved at the camera. "Hello everyone, my name is Shen Junyi. I wish you all a new year. Happy, healthy, and everything will come true." The host introduced a few words of his work, and then smiled and asked, "I heard that you made a wish for the Spring Festival Gala. Now that your wish has been fulfilled, what is your next wish?" "Shen Junyi, I hope I can continue to have the Spring Festival Gala next year." The people around couldn't laugh, only Zhao Yu in front of the TV felt a little sad. The interview was over in less than a minute, and Zhao Yu changed the channel to watch the Spring Festival Gala, but then he became a little disappointed. When it was almost 12 o'clock in the morning, she took out her mobile phone and opened the text message bar. The chat with Shen Junyi still stayed at the end of the college entrance examination. She stared at the screen for a long time, until the clock pointed to 11:59, and finally wrote a long blessing. "Firecrackers are sounding, the new year is here, the text message comes with greetings, and the blessings in my heart are also delivered. Xiaoyu is here to wish you a happy new year, good health, prosperity in the coming year, and a good career." A text message very much like a group message was actually sent to him alone. The countdown started on TV. When the count reached 1, the New Year's bell rang and Zhao Yu pressed the send button on time. "Obviously, I just sent a blessing message, but the roots of the ears are already red. The unspeakable thoughts of the girl are hidden in this blessing message, flying far away." The early morning of New Year's Eve is also very lively, with constant traffic on the street. Shen Jun was stuck on the road and slept in the nanny's car. Just after 12 o'clock, countless New Year greetings poured into his mobile phone, and the car kept shaking for a while. The assistant took the phone and said, "It's all for New Year's greetings. Shen Junyi has traveled too much recently and hasn't slept well for a long time." He closed his eyes and said sleepily, "Help me read it." The assistant read to him item by item. After reading it, he verbally responded, and the assistant helped him type and send it. Usually, the other party just sends a Happy New Year and all the best, and he only needs to reply Happy New Year. When he read Zhao Yu's article, the assistant laughed directly. After hearing this, Shen Jun was silent for a while. It's pretty rhyming. Wait a minute, I think about how to reply to this article. The assistant said, this looks like a group posting, just a Happy New Year. Shen Junyi, that won't work, it seems I am so uneducated. So half an hour later, Zhao Yu, who was holding the phone eagerly, finally waited for Shen Junyi's reply. The new year is here, blessings are here, and I wish to say hello to you. I wish you good health and good life, success in your studies, good mood, good luck, and happiness and luck always surround you. Zhao Yu. Oh, what? After editing for so long, he copied a mass New Year greeting message to perfuse her. What would happen to her sincere Happy New Year? Zhao Yu angrily threw away the phone and went to sleep. On the first day of the new year, relatives began to visit. Jiang's family doesn't have many relatives here, and most of them moved to Shanghai in their early years. Zhao Yu didn't have to deal with the serial greetings from the elders. He was a lot easier. Apart from eating and playing at home, he just went to the next door to talk to Grandma Shen. Grandma Shen said that Shen Jun intends to end her work and will be back in a few days. Zhao Yu was a little nervous. Are you about to meet? I haven't seen each other for so many years, what should I say after seeing it? Would he still treat himself as a neighbor's little sister? Shall we stop seeing you? But I want to see him a little bit, want to talk to him. Zhao Yu twisted into a worm on the bed. In the evening when the family was sitting in the living room watching TV and chatting, there was a sudden burst of noise outside, and the messy footsteps of kicking and stomping were extremely loud in the alleys at night. Zhao Yu heard the voice of Xiao Luo, the nurse at Grandma Shen's ear sharply. Zhang Lei worried, don't be a thief, right? Zhang Yu, go and see. Zhang Yu got up and walked out. Zhao Yu also hurriedly jumped off the sofa and put on his shoes. I will go too. When I walked outside the door, the movement was already small. The carer stood at the door and cursed something. Zhang Yu asked, what's the matter? What's the matter? The nurse replied, a group of people squatted at the door to take pictures. It's okay, they have already left. Zhang Yu frowned and looked in the direction of the alley, and whispered to Zhao Yu, I don't know if it is a fan or a paparazzi. These people are really sick, and they are coming to disturb the elderly. Zhao Yu was also a little angry, and said to the nurse, Sister Xiao Luo, call us if you have anything to do. Ronaldinho answered repeatedly. Returning to the living room, Zhang Yu told the story. Zhao Kongning said with emotion, it's not a good star. He glanced at Zhao Yu and sighed and joked, hey, wait for Yao to become famous in the future. Let's move. Zhao Yu akimbo, Comrade Zhang Lei, I want to report that Comrade Zhao Kongning secretly smoked in the small garden today. Zhang Lei threw an eye knife at her husband. Zhao Kongning. In the afternoon of the next day, Zhao Yu finished his daily training and was about to take a bath. The phone on the bed vibrated frantically. Lin's Hainan came here. As soon as Zhao Yu answered the phone, he heard an excited and shocked voice, have you seen the hot search? Shen Junyi's girlfriend has been exposed. They are all taken home for the new year. Zhao Yu. There was a bad feeling in her heart. Hurry up to open Weibo, the first entry in the hot search is Shen Junyi mysterious girlfriend, followed by a hot word. The photo was obviously taken secretly, with only one back. It can be clearly seen that it is a girl, wearing fluffy slippers, walking into the courtyard of Shen Junyi's grandma's house, holding a red plastic bag for her home in her hand. Dressed up very lifelike. The news broke that this is Shen Junyi's mysterious girlfriend, who has been living at his grandmother's house during the Chinese New Year. Someone broke Shen Junyi's itinerary. He will fly to Hangzhou tomorrow morning. It is obvious that he is here to meet his girlfriend. Zhao Yu looked left and right, thinking that this furry slippers and red plastic bag were so familiar. Isn't this me? Yesterday, relatives sent a box of red Fuji apples. The texture was soft and suitable for the elderly. Zhao Yu packed 10 in a bag and gave it to Grandma Shen. Was actually photographed? Shen Junyi's traffic is very hot, and once it involves him, the marketing account will be turned wildly, and netizens are also keen to eat his melons. From the time the photo broke to the present, the rumors have spread vividly, and the hot searches have criticized him for disqualifying his idol. Zhao Yu looked at the phone in a daze. She froze for a while, and quickly sent a message to Lin Yi, Yi, have you seen the hot search? Don't believe it if it's fake. Lin Yi, of course I don't believe it. My elder brother will not do anything to self-destruct his future. He promised that the fans would do their best. Garbage Hua Chang, why not come out to refute the rumors? But who is that girl? Relatives? Zhao Yu didn't dare to tell her that it was himself. Fortunately, there was only a vague back, no one recognized her. Hua Chang quickly issued a statement explaining that it was only the neighbors at home who brought gifts to visit the new year. He hoped that everyone would not spread rumors, and would seriously warn and condemn those who secretly photographed them, and urge everyone not to disturb the elderly. Zhao Yu thought of the group of people who squatted at the door to take pictures last night, and his teeth were tickled with anger. Although the company dispelled the rumors, not everyone believed this statement. Shen Junyi's last scandal with a dancer member is still clinging to it. The summit is high, and the wind and snow are even greater. This undoubtedly had a bad influence on him. Zhao Yu died of guilt. Obviously she has been very careful, why is she still causing trouble for him? There was a wave of heated discussions on the internet, he must be in utter discomfort, would he, think she is very annoying. He will be back tomorrow. Grandma Shen said yesterday that when he comes back, everyone will make dumplings and eat together. If it was secretly photographed again, it would be even more unexplainable. Discussions about this matter continued on the internet, and Zhao Yu had packed his bags and left Hangzhou overnight. Her vacation is only 2 days away. It's better to return to the company for training in advance than to stay there and continue to trouble him. Beijing is colder than Hangzhou. It was almost 11 o'clock in the middle of the night when she got off the plane. Zhang Yu helped her contact the driver she knew in advance. He was carrying luggage into the trunk, and the phone rang. She thought it was her mother, so she slashed away and gave a hello. A familiar and unfamiliar voice came from the other end, hello, Xiaoyu. Zhao Yu was stunned, and the night's wind and snow poured into her neckline, making her shiver with the cold. Shen Junyi did not receive a response, and shouted again, hey, is it Xiaoyu? Zhao Yu took a deep breath and controlled his voice to a normal tone before finally speaking, well, it's me. After she got in the car and closed the door, his voice became clearer in her ears, I just finished work, did you see the hot search today? Sorry for the trouble. Zhao Yu was stunned, and didn't know how to answer for a while. Why apologize to her? Obviously she caused him trouble. The one smiling and groaning, it seems that what happened today has no effect on him, I will be back to Hangzhou tomorrow. Grandma said that I want to make dumplings with you, and the fillings are adjusted. Zhao Yu was silent, deliberately keeping his natural voice sounding a little indifferent, I have already returned to school. Shen Junyi was a little surprised, so fast. He said with regret, I want to see if you have grown taller. Grandma said you have changed a lot. In words, she still seemed to be the little sister of the neighbor who was walking around behind him. Who would like a follower? Zhao Yu was too desperate. The script that God gave her was obviously a childhood sweetheart script, but she was forced to act as a sibling and elder brother and sister. What did I do when I was young? The author has something to say, if I can do it again, I will beat myself.